Good morning, nuts, and welcome to your deck review. I see from your primer we are working with a Vial Smasher Kydel Reanimator list, but it is more of a like mid-range control Reanimator mashup because we are playing in what you're calling refined bracket 2. We're not looking for combos, we're not looking for game changers, we're looking for synergistic, but still a little bit loose, you know? On the weekends, we wear a mesh shirt, go to the club, get a little freaky. Like, we're not trying too hard. We want things to be fun. We're okay with things being a little bit inefficient, but we still want it to all work together. Now, from your primer, I would say right out of the gate, I think you are to a gruesome degree sleeping on Kydel. I think you used the word she's normally just a bench warmer for colors, and I think if I were to recommend one change to how you are thinking about this deck, it is to restructure it around Kydel being really, really good. Another problem you complained about is, well, a lot of my ramp is on 2, and if I ramp on 2, I end up with 1 more mana than I need to cast Vial Smasher. Whatever could I do? It's not as though there's a 4 mana commander who's crazy good and also in the command zone. I must cast the 3 mana guy. And I know you do want to get to damage, so I am going to try to sell you on... Oh my god, my pants have a hole in them. Horrible. I am going to try to sell you on what the beauty of this is. And the lone interaction I want you to think about is if you want to be a Reanimator control deck, you have to be working through your cards relatively quickly because you're not always going to have the right answer in hand. So you want to both fill your graveyard and you want to sort your hand to be the thing you need to stop the opponent who's popping off too hard. Because in Commander especially, but in my opinion, in every format of Magic right now, threats are better than answers. And so if your deck has enough answers that you just naturally have one all the time, your deck probably sucks because you don't have enough proactive stuff to keep up. And so you had, 11 pieces of interaction. We're not always going to have one. We need to be able to do like some looting, some like check the top whatevers for whatever to get the answer into our hand. And a thing that can connect the dots between doing that and doing a mass reanimator deck and Kydel is cards like Merfolk Looter. This isn't going to break the game in half. With Kydel in play, this is a mana dork. That is a relatively simple interaction that becomes really fucking good really, really quickly when you also want to be casting big mana spells with Vial Smasher. And so the way you path through the early game will probably change a little bit if you take this recommendation. But any creature that loots, and you would actually be happier, you would actually be even happier with something that did 2 to 3 at a time. We're in everything but white. We're in red, blue, black, green. There's Monsalanti. Relic of Sauron does not become mana positive, but it nets you only net down 1 mana. God, Kitza could do it if you do like multiple spells into your big reanimation spell. Flood Pits becomes crazy fucking good just as a card. Because now all of a sudden you get your card for turn, and then if you just have a looter, you're now floating 2 colorless mana off Kydel. That may not sound like much, but it probably is the difference maker between either being able to double spell, like being able to play High Fae Trickster and then hold up enough mana that you can flash in something meaningful, or on the later turns, being able to get off one of your very, very big spells. It's Bahamut mana, is what I want you to think about. And obviously you don't have to do this because it is a relatively big departure from how your early game is currently set up, but I do think that you are leaving a lot of fun on the table by not doing this. God, is there anything we can get that's like wheel 2? Because wheel 2 would be absolutely horrendous in this deck. attempts this, but we need mana. God, if you even wanted to do mastery animation from other people, you could fucking lore broker. Everybody loots. All seeing art. This would be like a reanimation target. This is something for the later game. Before I get too deep into the specific recommendations, please consider looting as an option and consider using Kydel more. I think Kydel is the missing link that would make a lot of this either more possible or a lot of this run smoother, because you talked about consistency, I think getting across the finish line, right? Not necessarily dying first, but trying to get a first place finish. What I'm looking for is a bit more consistency along with ways to stay in control through the later aspects of the game. I think utilizing Kydel and utilizing looting to shape your hand better is that missing link. It will probably require you to cut a few of the funny cards, which will make you very, very sad. But if you do this, you will be able to pick a suite of, here are my like maybe 10 to 15. Here are my 10 to 15 poor, chunky reanimation targets. Here is my interaction suite. Here is my ramp suite. Here is my suite of looters. And I'm always hoping to go like either hit ramp or a looter in the early turns, get Kydel out, and then utilize Kydel's mana to either like Vial Smasher, play more setup, or just rip a big fucking stinker immediately. All right, so we have another one. So this looks like our mass reanimation. Yeah, cute, solid. All of these very expensive, but do work, yeah. Card advantage. God bless you for having a little bit of loot. I like blood for the blood god. Dig through time is okay. That's, I mean, it's technically card advantage. This is a pretty bad spell for this deck, I think. You do have 38 lands, so you're likely to get the land drop out, but I think this is something you could cut if you went into the looting plan. Like if we wanted this to be a 4-mana ramp spell, just run Sky Shroud Claim. If we wanted this to be a 4-mana draw spell, we probably have like Lorien Revealed and we make it 5 mana to get 3 cards instead. But I think if you just have like Merfolk Looter, Lore Broker, or Overlord of the Flood Pits, you don't have the card problem so badly, and you don't have the ramp problem so badly because now Kydel is providing us mana too. Scry 3, real top, draw cards equal that card CMC. That's cute as hell. That's cute as hell, and I want you to think about how much earlier you can cast this spell if we use our other commander who is very good. This art is sick. This is a cute little gimmick. If we're on big mana, how aggressive is our curve? We're probably hitting for 4 or 5. That's not nothing. That's cute enough. I think mechanically it is worse than a loot effect, but that's okay. We're in bracket 2. Hell yeah. 3 mana, draw 3. Hell yeah. Toilet Snake. Evil good card gets way better if you're looting. Gets so much better if you can make up mana. You can fabricate mana with the looter off Kydel, and then you have more shit in your graveyard because you looted, and then you get to treasure cruise into all of your very good cards. I hate earthbending. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Then we have a fair bit of ramp. Bigger on the inside. Oh, sure. Yeah. Ramp, and not deadly greed. I see you. I mean, Wilderness Wreck is hyper greedy, especially because you only have 2 flash enablers. I will try to let you live with this dream. I think you would probably be happier if you could just like, if the turns you took just mattered more versus trying to take 4 turns per turn. Okay. Another thing I'd like to posit to you about your interaction, more things like Windgrace's Judgment. what I said earlier, threats are worse or threats are better than answers. Um, if you only have one thing, yeah, one card that can deal with more than one creature, very easy to get overwhelmed. Eventually, we will run out of cards. No matter how responsibly we build the deck, there is in fact not there's not a lot of cards that just say, "Hey, what if you drew 10 for 0 mana?" which is almost what you need to keep up with 1-for-1 removal. So I'm not going to say cut all the 1-for-1 removal, especially not some of the more efficient stuff like the things you can free cast. But I do think things like Dismember, things like Overkill, um, Hagramauling, that's a land at least. I know there's a version of this that just doesn't enter tapped. I think it's like Fell to Profane. Like I think straight up same card. Oh, you could maybe do this for 3. Yeah, just run this one instead, because then if you need the land, you can get the land. But I would consider more things like Wind Graces that hit multiple creatures, because the situation I often get in, and especially talking about I'm not struggling in the early game, I'm struggling in the late game. The situation I most often get in when I'm playing against my partner's deck, who has a fucked up and evil birds deck, is like I need to solve problems. I don't need to board wipe. I don't need to reset us. But there are like 5 problems on the board. And one's the worst problem. Like it's the most worth hitting with a removal spell. But even if I solve that one, there's 4 other runners up who are still going to push my shit in. And so then you get into this weird game of chicken that you might not come out on top of. Versus gloriously stupid cards like Hex. Imagine only having to pay 3 actual mana for Hex because you do some looting and you float mana off Kydel. And then you eliminate all the problems, and then, oh my, what's that? Next turn, you reanimate all of the problems that you just eliminated. Now, this card specifically, pretty bad, because it will fizzle if any of the 6 creatures go away, and so it's easier for people to conspire and be like, oh, well, okay, I don't want to lose my 2 creatures that Joey targeted, so I'll kill one of your creatures, and then it won't have valid targets. And then, oh, never mind, that doesn't happen. I'm just straight lying, bro. Read the Scryfall rulings. Anyway, yeah, stuff like this. So this is now a good card for you. More things that allow you to deal with multiple problems, especially because you have access to so many colors. Other cute ones like this. I've ended up cutting this card more often than not because back to hand hasn't felt quite good enough, but it is bounce a couple problems, get a free spell out of it. You can test it, and if you enjoy it, keep running it. But this has been too low quality. But I'm often playing in bracket 3, so in bracket 2, maybe it's high quality enough. But that is the theme I would like you to consider. We want to use Kydel, step 1, use looters, step 2, have more cards that are multi-target for our interaction suite. Or we can have more things that are one-sided board wipes. I don't know how you would create a one-sided board wipe in this deck specifically because we don't have like a through line on our creature types. We're not using counters, anything like that. But in a way, every board wipe is a one-sided board wipe because we're the only one casting Rise of the Dark Realms. Cute as hell, go off, beautiful. I'm not going to contest that dream for a moment. Yeah, great and fine. Usually hits a tally. Great and perfect. Ramp question mark. I definitely agree with the question mark, but very good cards. You should keep them. Okay, and then we have 13 untagged creatures. So I'm assuming these are our big hits. Beautiful. Nope. Beautiful. Beautiful. Silly. Nope. Nope. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, nope. Beautiful. Beautiful. Nope. Nope. Okay. Obviously, you don't have to cut all the ones I said nope to, but another thing I would like to impart to you as part of the review is you were talking about like this is a good stuff pile. This is a pile of stuff that you enjoy, and 99 spots or 98 spots because you have partner commanders. It's just not enough cards. You have a ton that you love and a ton you want to see, even if they're not necessarily the best for the slot. So what I would recommend is if you are looking for opportunities to trade stuff out in a reanimation deck, we are effectively saying, I'm going to spend more mana and more cards per creature than you are and expect to win. See how bad that sounds? Like, I'm going to spend three, if I do, you're not doing this, but let's pretend like I'm going to use a graveyard tutor and then use reanimate. So I'm using less mana, but I'm using 3 cards to cast 1 card. I'm using the guy I want to bring back, I'm using the graveyard tutor, and I'm using the reanimate spell. So it's a losing proposition most of the time unless the card you get back is overwhelmingly good. So the bar I normally hold my reanimation targets to is if I got just you out, would I be the problem? That's how good they need to be. And I still, understanding that we're in bracket 2, I think it gets even worse there because the dinosaur player is just ramping to these cards. They're going to play more of these problems than you are. And so Xenos, maybe, if you had a really specific plan to make somebody lose the game. But a lot of these things are just like other kind of generic value engines that don't link up with the plan really well, versus with stuff that I think does link up with the plan really well, which is looting. Like, I loot Atali into the grave, and then I breach the multiverse. I'm winning. They may board wipe me, and at that point I am no longer winning. But if I just go like turn 1 nothing, turn 2 looter, turn 3 looter or ramp, turn 4 Kydel, and I'm looting now this whole time to sculpt my hand. Turn 5, I've either hit double looter or I'm up 1 land. That would float 3 mana off Kydel, and I would have 4 or 5 lands. That's Breach the Multiverse mana. Right? A little bit slow of a startup, but it lets you sculpt exactly the interaction that you want. And then it doesn't have to be OP, it just has to be like, I'm going to spend my early turns doing this such that when I get this into play, I am in the driver's seat now. Get shit on. And so the things that definitely don't do that are Azula, Kess, Maelstrom Wanderer, only because this is a reanimation deck. You may actually like this guy more as you lean more into Kydel, because then you would keep him in your hand, but you would have the mana to cast him and get the cascade triggers. Right now you're using him only as a haste enabler, which is a little bit of a waste, but again, it does get fixed a bit by using Kydel. Bahamut's incredibly funny. Cerberus just bad. I think you're leaning into, if I had to guess, I feel like you're leaning into all these doublers because it's you trying to make your interaction matter. If I was shot in the dark, it feels a lot like you're realizing, oh, I don't have enough card advantage, so I have to double it. Oh, I don't have enough removal to keep the whole table down, so I have to double it. And I think a lot of that gets solved by looting. You get the right cards in hand, you see more of your deck, you have more mana because now you're playing the very, very good Simic commander you already have. So for the sideboard, you are a rat. You are a rat with this time stop shit. But it so stuff you could probably take out to put in nearly anything. I think the least helpful cards you have are Soul Ring, genuinely, because you're so pip restrictive on both your commanders. Soul Ring, Wilderness Reclamation, Eureka Moment, Kess Dissident Mage, Fire Lord Azula. Overkill, Dismember. Submerge is really funny. It's really bad, but it's so funny that I don't want to cut it. Keen Duelist. Yeah, I think those are the very weakest if you want to put more funny cards in. But what I'm going to wholeheartedly recommend to you, try building a version of this deck in Moxfield where you do a loot plan and you pick your like 10 favorite bombs that would just absolutely take over a game by themselves. This is one of them, by the way. This is one of them. Rob people. Pick your like 10 to 15 favorite game controlling bombs. They obviously won't win the game alone, but game controlling bombs. And then seek to loot into Kydel into float, big mana, and then you can take a turn for Vile Smasher if you want, so that you're throwing damage around, but then the like mid-range reanimator control pile can actually sing a little bit. So yeah, I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed.